okay? And then hopefully something that's kind of boring PowerPoint, I can walk around and kind of interact with my students. I can also, and this is recording, and I can also draw on it. There's a draw button that the students don't see that I have here. And I can draw with just free writing, or I can draw figures and stuff like that. I can point out aspects, like in meteorology, if you see like a crunchy cloud like that, you're like, oh, that's a fresh one, and that's a building one, and so we might have some sort of excitement with that instability associated with that. So PowerPoint, as you know, you advance onto the next slide. I can advance on the next slide, etc. It has all my builds if you're familiar with PowerPoint. So it's just the same as, I'm not doing any work here. It's all on my laptop. Okay. The other thing is that if I want a whiteboard, there's like a little button here. Let's see. Yeah. Actually, I would go into my folder if I want a whiteboard, and I could pull up a blank screen. Come on. You know you want to. I've gone to these styluses. They're like, instead of rubber, they're like got this little metal tip. So I kind of like them. So here's assortment of files, but down here is a plus, and that would be my whiteboard. So here now I can just draw things. And if you're like a math teacher, you want to take a break and you're like, hey, this is what I want to emphasize. And you can just go ahead and, write A plus B goes to form C. I also teach chemistry. So here's where, if you want to talk about, hydrogen combining with oxygen to form water, and you can talk about balancing the chemical reaction. You can change your colors, and all the time you're recording. It's a pretty good voice recorder, so it's right here with me, okay? So it's kind of nice. So the other thing, and it has to do with kind of the whiteboard feature, is have you ever seen where, and I think Khan Academy does this a lot, where he does a writing, and then he goes and he talks about this writing. He voices over it. So you can, at home, do your own drawing and present it in class. So here's what that looks like. We have a test coming up in meteorology. So what I've done ahead of time is to prepare a whiteboard with stuff on it. And it looks really busy, okay? But here's what this looks like. So students ahead of time, we have a test coming up, and they know that for chapter 4, these are things they're going to see on their test. And so what I did ahead of time was to, see if this will work, just basically make these little animations. And I know it's really small, okay, but actually now I can talk about them as I present them. I hit the next button, okay. So I know a lot of teachers I've read with Doceri, they do stuff at home to present later. It's like from the comfort of your home. And again, I'm all recording this, so I can talk about, emphasize things, I can add to this. But I don't have to, on the fly, come up with this stuff, which I really like. It takes me a little bit of time, but I like unit exams. To me, are a time to say, hey, what do we talk about this unit, and to say, this is awesome stuff. And it's a lot of stuff, but you can do this. They get to bring a note card on their exams, too. So any questions about all this? Okay. And then if I want to go back to my, I'm sorry, my bad. If I want to go back to my PowerPoint, I just hit my pencil, okay, and I'm back on track. It's my mom. She's fine. She's probably like, why didn't you call me this morning? I'm like, there's an in-service day. Okay, so that's all that. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you.
I'm sorry, I missed the intro. What is the connectivity between your pad and the computer?
That's a good question. It is actually in my pocket. It is, you need to have, this is my little hotspot. So the thing is, it needs to share the same internet. Okay, so
you're
right.
sharing it through the Wi-Fi?
Yes. And Bruce and I are in a perfect world, actually, I could log on to SCC, and this could be on SCC, and they could talk to each other. There's a firewall that prevents that from happening right now. So I have to have an external one. Does that make sense?
And so you have to have gotta have the network. iPad's got Wi-Fi built in, and then the computer, the laptop's got Wi-Fi built in too. Whereas the desktop computer does not have Wi-Fi built in. Libby, the other day when you were playing down at Keokuk in 406, how did you get Doceri to work with the desktop?
Okay, yeah, so if you come into a classroom and you're like, hey, I don't want to take this, okay, the stuff I need is on my H drive or whatever, okay? So what you just need is, and I think Barb Altai down there called it an adapter, but basically it's,
Okay.
this one doesn't have an
So she
Ethernet
added on, okay.
Yeah, she added on to something on the USB drive,
Yeah.
or USB, you know what I mean? And it just basically turned it into something that could send and receive or participate in
On the
a
Wi-Fi network, yeah.
Because usually it doesn't have a part.
Okay. So so that we'd have to, so for a laptop's ideal because it's got built-in Wi-Fi. Most of them do nowadays. So that works well. We've got to work out why we can't. This for the group that's here. This is a good demonstration where Libby brought her own access point. When you go to a convention center to present, for instance, that is often the boondoggle right there. That where you can't get on their Wi-Fi network to do what you want to do on their Wi-Fi network. And that's a good backup plan, is to have either your phone as a personal hotspot or have one of these Wi-Fi
And this is,
devices.
I got this from Walmart. The device cost $90, which seems like a lot. But then it's internet to go, and it's like for $45 worth of then you buy the gigs or whatever, okay? And so you use the gigs. The device is the initial cost, and then you buy what do I want to call it? The usage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where do you get the data usage from?
Oh, and then after that, Walmart's out of it. Basically, Walmart does sell the cards, the scratch. They're just like a redeemable. You pay. I went ahead for $45 and got a lot. And we took this to Mississippi. We've used it, and I mean, it lasts months for us.
Is that a straight talk device?
I'm not familiar with Straight Talk, so I don't think so.
That's Walmart, right?
Yeah, it's
Internet to go. It's
internet to go, which is on their
Yeah.
Sprint.
It's got pretty good coverage.
If you line it up with Sprint, US Cellular or something?
You just pay for that device and you are connected.
Yeah, Internet to
You
go
get
is
credit
who
card
refills
information.
my stuff.
So you subscribe to Internet to Go?
Kind of, yeah. I don't really, I want something that I have control over, so I just, when I need more stuff, I can push it out there to internet. I can pay internet to go to put more stuff on here. I pay for it as I go, yeah. I can do that on online, or I can go to Walmart and buy a little thingy.
So it's not like at the end of the month, you're out of data and
Right.
you have to buy new. You buy a certain amount of data for a certain price, and then
Yeah.
you use up that amount of data, you're done.
Exactly.
Well,
You
I
spend
kind of
more
do the same
on the
thing
card.
with my son at college, but I'm using the hotspot from US Cellular.
Yeah, that's the same thing,
Okay.
same idea.
Okay.
And I didn't know if one was a little cheaper or not because it continues to keep running over his data. But
Yeah,
I'm sure it's for
depends on what day of the week it is.
Yeah.
It would be great if we could get T-Mobile here. Do their pricing structure. Today, they're probably the cheapest, but it's whether or not where you live and breathe, does it give you the services that you need
Yeah.
at the quality
He
that
did
you
good
need?
service.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But that's Doceri. And just to kind of show you, like when you're done, so this actually we've been recording, and I'll probably post this. I don't know if you guys are familiar with our blog, but I'll probably post this on the blog just for kicks. So when I want to stop it, I just go ahead and hit the stop